Third-rate martial artists are the lowest level, and you can get there pretty quickly with just a bit of training. But Sungmin, well, he's not even at that level yet. He knows he can't win this fight on his own, and the people here, they're not about to jump in and help him. Xenovis can be a cold place. Sungmin leans over to the other worlder who appeared earlier and warns him in a hushed tone. He says that the bottle those thugs gave him has some kind of paralytic poison in it. The young man's eyes widen in alarm, and he quickly spills out the contents of the bottle. The thug from before, the one with the busted nose, he's had enough of waiting. He strides over to Sungmin, threatening and ready to throw a knee kick. But Sungmin's been in scrapes like this before. He dodges the attack with a quick move and counters by striking the thug in the ribs with his elbow and then his palms. But here's the thing, Sungmin's just a kid, and against a fully grown thug, his blows don't seem to do much. Size and strength matter in a fight. The other thugs start warning everyone to keep quiet or the guards will come, and that's the last thing anyone wants. The thug who's been after Sungmin raises his fist, looking to finish this. Sungmin knows he can't win this fight with just his bare hands. He reaches for his spear in his pouch, but before he can even get a grip on it, the young man who appeared out of nowhere earlier steps into the midst of the scuffle. He asks Sungmin to repeat what he said earlier, and for a moment Sungmin is distracted by this unexpected intervention. But the thug's fist is still coming, fast and mean. Then, out of nowhere, the young man offers his help. He moves so fast it's like he's a blur, and he effortlessly blasts the thug away. The thug goes flying and crashes into the other thugs who had just been beaten down. Sungmin's eyes widen in shock. He's never seen anyone move like that. The palm attack the young man used, it's not just about strength, it's something more. Sungmin realizes that this guy is no ordinary fighter. He's a peak martial master, and that's a whole different level. Sungmin starts piecing things together. He is around his age, a peak martial master, and was summoned around the same time as him. He wonders if this boy is the little heavenly demon, Ouiji Hoyeon. The demonic cult is the representative of the unorthodox sects. They worship power itself. The strongest in the cult would become the head of the demonic cult, and would be called the heavenly demon. His child is referred to as the young leader, an otherworlder who was the young leader. He is the little heavenly demon, Ouiji Hoyeon. From an early age he was able to use peak-level martial arts. He came to Area as an otherworlder, and made a name for himself all over Area. He was about the same age as Sungmin, but there was a huge power gap between them. Hoyeon is in Sungmin's room, and they introduce themselves to each other. Sungmin explains to Hoyeon about the world that they are in, saying that it is different from the world they were previously in. Hoyeon then asks if there is no demonic cult in their world. Sungmin says that there are no demonic cults in their world, and Hoyeon starts giggling. Hoyeon then recalls the time they were being confronted by thugs earlier at the plaza, and asks Sungmin what he was shouting at him. Sungmin tells him that he was trying to stop him from drinking the water because it had paralytic poison in it. Hoyeon starts laughing, but he calls Sungmin arrogant for speaking informally to him. Sungmin immediately apologizes to him. Hoyeon then points out how Sungmin was using martial arts earlier and starts insulting his skills, calling them trash and lousy. He asks him where he learned such lousy martial arts. Sungmin starts getting offended by these condescending comments and asks what Hoyeon's intentions are. Hoyeon responds, saying that he will teach him martial arts. This shocks Sungmin. Hoyeon promises him that if he teaches him, he will most definitely improve, but he has conditions, which are that Sungmin must become his friend. Sungmin is utterly shocked and confused by this condition. In a flashback, we see a younger Hoyeon telling his father, the demon cult leader, heavenly demon Ouiji Hak, that he wants a friend. He tells his father that he learned about friends in a book he read, and that he learned that having a friend can overcome all hardships. His father then scolds him, telling him that that is not true for Hoyeon, since he will succeed the throne and rule over the myriad demons, so there is no need for him to have friends. Hoyeon walks off, saddened by his father's scolding. Hak then comments about his son's combative skills. During the training, his son was able to beat fat people despite being a 10-year-old. Being the heir to the demon cult, he grew up with a lot of expectations. He began training when he was young, so he did not have the time to make friends. There was no logical reasoning behind this. Sungmin then accepts Hoyeon's offer and becomes his friend, but he is a bit taken aback that he, a 27-year-old man on the inside, is friends with a 13-year-old. Hoyeon begins teaching Sungmin the violet mystic art. It is a technique from the unorthodox sect that has a unique characteristic. Sungmin then questions why he is being taught Violet Dawn mystic art, when he thought he would be taught demon cult martial arts. Hoyeon then questioned why he used formal language when talking to him. He told him to use informal language since they were friends. Hoyeon began to explain that the heavenly demonic mystic art he practiced was reserved for the leader and the heir, so he couldn't teach him that. But he assured Sungmin that he wouldn't regret learning the Violet Dawn mystic art, as it was a powerful technique. A month had passed since Hoyeon started teaching Sungmin the Violet Dawn mystic art. Sungmin's martial skills had improved significantly, reaching between the third and second class. While it was a significant development compared to his past life, he couldn't forget Hoyeon's sarcastic comments about his abilities. One day, in the forest, Sungmin was ambushed by a large orc. He managed to dodge the attack just in time, though it caught him by surprise. With his spear, Sungmin swiftly defeated the orc with a single, precise strike to the chest. Afterward, he examined the orc, wondering why it was so far from its usual habitat. A man suddenly appeared behind him, introducing himself as Woon Hye-young, the Orchid Destruction Sword. Sungmin, cautious, inquired about his intentions. Woon explained that he was there because of a problem related to the orc. Woon led Sungmin to meet Do Sangryang, a small monkey. Do expressed doubt about Sungmin, considering him too young for the task. However, Woon reassured him, citing Sungmin's impressive combat skills. The other members of their group introduced themselves to Sungmin. Wang Pei was known as the Black Rain Dagger, and Rainier hailed from the School of Velas. Woon then provided Sungmin with information about recent events in the area. An orc faction had established a new village and had been attacking nearby settlements and killing novice adventurers. The mercenary guild had placed a reward of 20 million ER for eradicating the orc village, with potential loot bringing the total profit to around 35 million ER. Dividing it by the 5 people in their group, each member will get around 7 million ER. Sungmin wonders if he should go along with this plan. It's a rare chance, but he doesn't know if he can trust these strangers. After a moment's thought, Sungmin nods in agreement. Woon, his face lighting up, welcomes Sungmin to the team, but there's something Sungmin's curious about. Those 2 gloomy guys huddled in the corner. Sungmin gestures to them and asks Woon about their role. Woon chuckles. Oh, they're just the pack mules. They lug around our stuff and get paid with whatever's left. As the group travels towards their orc hunting mission, Sungmin's curiosity bubbles up again. How many orcs we dealing with? He asks Do, who's been quiet till now. Do scratches his head. Around 50, but we'll likely only face 30. Orcs ain't too clever. We just need to rush 'em. Woon chimes in, explaining their plan. They'll split into 2 teams, with Woon and Sungmin in one, the rest in the other. The strategy is simple. Lure the orcs out, divide and conquer. Rainier, with her magic, will help by spreading their scent. Do's team will be an ambush, while Sungmin and Woon will light a flare to draw out the rest of the orcs. Sungmin, though, thinks it's a bit rough around the edges. Maybe we could set a trap, he suggests, but then realizes it's not practical given their numbers. As they approach the orc territory, they split up. They've been trekking for nearly half a day, and Sungmin starts feeling bad for the mule carrying their gear. He turns to the mule and asks, "What's your name?" The mule surprisingly responds, "I'm Brass." Sungmin, worried about Brass's safety, offers him an out. "You can run if you want when the orcs come charging," he says. Brass, though, stands his ground. "I can't run," he mutters. Sungmin nods and reminds Brass to take care of himself. They finally reach their destination, a wooden fence amidst the trees. Before Woon ignites the flare, Sungmin pulls out a massive jar of water from his magical pocket. Woon's puzzled. "What's that for?" he asks. Sungmin grins. "Mud. We'll rub it on ourselves to mask our scent." As Woon triggers the flare, the orcs take notice. Woon then comes up with an idea. "Let's send Brass out first. It might distract them better." Brass is really surprised by this plan. He tells Woon that he could get seriously hurt or even die, but Woon doesn't seem to care. He says confidently that he won't die. Then he gets a bit scary. He threatens Brass, saying if he doesn't come with them, he'll do something bad to him. But just as quickly, he says he's only kidding. Sungmin, who's been quiet until now, speaks up. He says he'll go first. There are about 13 big orcs that they've lured out, and Sungmin decides to take them on. As he charges in, he wonders why he volunteered. He and Brass aren't friends or anything, but they're both kinda at the bottom of the social ladder. They both follow the rule that the strong are in charge. Sungmin remembers his training with Hoyeon, how to hold a spear and stab from a distance. He uses this special spear technique he learned, the soul-chasing spear, in its 3rd form. It's awesome. He takes out a bunch of orcs in one go. Woon jumps in to help with the rest. An orc suddenly attacks Brass, but Sungmin saves him just in time. They start cutting off the orc's ears, which is kinda gross but necessary for their mission. Woon thanks Sungmin for the help, throwing a bag of orc ears to Brass, telling him to make sure they don't miss any. They start walking back to meet up with the others, and Brass thanks Sungmin. What will happen next? Find out next time by staying tuned for our future recaps. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more great recaps.